All righty. So let's get into KVCore. So I'm Charity, if you guys don't know. Hi. So we are going to go ahead and get through as much of KVCore is a really complicated topic, actually. So 1 hour is definitely not enough to go over it. So we kind of want to just do an overview of KVCore. I'm going to share my screen. Oh, the host has to allow me to share my screen. Please. And allowed. Should be like allow multiple participants there. Guys, it's like Inception over here. I can see myself.
Allow Oh, it says allow multi-type. That one?
So go to I can't show you.
Do you have like a screen share button?
Yeah, there should be a share screen button right there at the bottom. And then you click on that.
Yeah, hold on, I gotcha. You just figured it out. Screen share, sweet.
So
Here you go.
yay. And so my camera keeps on falling back, so you can see it just going like this. That's what's happening. All right, so this is KVCore, and they have changed the format of the way that it looks recently, which I don't love, but we'll figure it out. Okay, so everyone's dashboard when you log in should look like this, and you would click this little, call this the hamburger menu, to expand it so that you can actually read what's here on the side. And honestly, when I started looking at KVCore, I just kind of clicked every button just to see what it did. That's really like, and then I went through the inside real estate training on KVCore and took 25 hours to watch all those trainings. And so I came at it obviously with a different background, coming from a tech company, so I understood some of the technological things that were happening, but I also come from a sales background, and I think that's really important to kind of talk through the kind of two main pieces that KVCore does. Three things if you consider this is also your website. So the main functions of KVCore are what's called a CRM, like customer relations management. So that means that it's like where your database is stored, but electronically. And you get lots of cool different options using KVCore CRM versus just putting it in an Excel spreadsheet, okay? And then the other piece of it, which most people want to know about, is more of like, how do I use it to generate leads, right? Because that's kind of like the thing that we like are excited about with KVCore. So the way that it generates leads relates to how this is also your website. So basically, you want to think of the KVCore platform as the back end of your website. So like you have the front end, which everybody sees, which is the charity Messaoudi at exprealty.com. And then it's like, if somebody lands on a certain page, because the way that KVCore is set up, within one or two clicks, depending on how you have your website set up, it requires them to register to continue having access to your website. And so the lead generation piece of this is that you come in on the back end and you create these, like, they're called squeeze pages that you're going to post on social media. It generates a link, a URL, a really long one. If someone clicks on that from social media, it takes them back to that specific page that you created. And the page is created basically a search. It's like, what are they searching for? Are they searching for one property, a specific MLS ID? Are they searching for multiple properties, which would be like, maybe you have people who are interested in seeing all of the open houses in a certain zip code. So it's a multiple properties with the same like specs, same specifications. Maybe you want people who just reduced, just listed, 55 plus, 5 plus garage. So you have the option through the KVCore backend of deciding who are your target clients and what would they like to see. And let's make a link that says, hey, you can see the things that you want to see by clicking on this link. So when we create this link here on the back end in KVCore, it creates a query. It creates a request to find this information on your front-facing website. It exists, but nothing's going to happen with it until you put it on social media. So understand that we're creating links to put somewhere else, social media, in email. You have to put this in front of your customers that you're looking for, and then try and make it so exciting that they click on it, and then it brings them back into your front-facing website. And then the back end of the website on the CRM side will tell you when they're looking. It's a little bit of a big brother situation, but it's really powerful. And so for me, so that's kind of an overview of the different pieces and how they're related to each other. So I'm just making links, but the links don't go anywhere. You have to put them somewhere. So that's what a lot of people are like, I'm not getting any leads from KVCore. KVCore's not going to do anything for you. It's just like you have to put that somewhere. So that's, I think, the missing piece that I get a lot of times with people asking me, why am I not getting leads from KVCore? So I think it's important to understand how the CRM works, because it helps understand how to make the links that you're going to click, because when you make the links in a specific way, it automatically puts the leads into your CRM with like hashtags and all that kind of stuff. So until I explain to you what hashtags mean, that won't make a lot of sense to you, and how to use hashtags in your sales business. So I'm just going to kind of run down the left side of the screen here so you know kind of where things are. Really quickly on the top right hand side, for you guys who are like new to EXP and KVCore, this is where you set up your profile. So you would click the drop down that has your name on it. This is a smart number. Just a quick note about the smart number: unless you pay for your own smart number, this is the same smart number for all of EXP in the triangle. So the problem with that, if somebody randomly calls this number, so if you're using this to advertise in places where you don't know who's going to call or click, which is going to squeeze pages, when that call comes in, what KVCore does is it searches for all of the people who use this smart number. It will search in your CRM to see if you have that contact listed somewhere. If you have that contact, then they get sent to you. If that contact is not already in somebody's CRM, it goes in a round robin to all the 600 agents in the triangle. So using that non-personalized office smart number is not a great idea for the type of marketing where you're doing, it's called outbound marketing. You're just putting it out in the universe and someone might call you one day, okay? So if you think that you would prefer to use a smart number instead of your personal number for things, then I would highly recommend to pay for your personal smart number. And it's, I think it's $30-something per month through KVCore. It's like the same as a Google number. It's a VoIP number. You can use KVCore. You can get other like systems like CallRail, or there's other systems that you can use, but I just want you to understand that if you use this 4362060, which is, if you haven't bought a smart number, if you look at this, this is the exact same number that you have. I wouldn't recommend it. So I just, my little thoughts on smart numbers. We could go through this all day long. So you can put in all agents and lenders and teams and all that kind of stuff. This right here is showing recent activity. This is showing your tasks that you're supposed to be doing. This is where you log your email. I've just changed my email password, so I need to reset my Google settings. And there's some quick actions up there. So don't worry about it. I just wanted to show you what this is up here. I'm not going to go into depth into how to create your profile today. So there is this new link here called Playbooks. And this is new. I haven't really looked at this a bunch. But basically what I've seen with the new interface of KVCore is they're trying to just put more things in different places. if you see where it says quick actions, these actions can all be taken from an actual lead too. It's just some people like to look at it here. Some people like to look at it within a lead. Some people like to see it in the smart CRM. So KVCore tries to put things in multiple places because of what's called UI. It's like how different people interact with technology. So it's not that you couldn't find any of this stuff promoting a listing, for example. You could find that in the marketplace. But that's what playbooks are for. They're just trying to like highlight what they think is most important to you. So the first thing you want to go into is looking at your smart CRM. And so you're going to get a list like this of, sorry, trying to get you guys out of my way. All right, so you're going to see a list of leads. And if you go down here to the bottom, it will tell you how many leads total that you have in here and how many leads are showing. So if you go to the filters right here, and I'm just going to go left to right so we can just figure things out. You can save filters. You can go in here and manage your save filters. You can do a search. Let's say, for example, I want to search for people named John. No results found. I don't know, whatever. I think that's, then you can like search by like only your sphere and then apply filters. And then what will happen is only will show you your sphere over here, which we have 1662. Or you can search by new leads or by prospects. Or you can look by who's been assigned. This is if you have a team, by the way. Just FYI, they've added some extra things in here. You can search by contact details. Are they a buyer? Are they a seller? Now, you have to assign these contact details. Like it doesn't just have, which is why I'm showing you how you can search for them, because it matters how you put the leads in. For you to be able to search them in the future, they have to be tagged or marked or whatever correctly. And there is no right or wrong way to do this. It just needs to be consistent. And so that's what's really important, is for you to remember, do I put them into new or prospect? A lot of people are they a lead? There's a lot of confusion about how you call things. Like they're new for 2 days, then they go into prospect, and I don't know, like that's different for every person. So again, you just have to determine that every single time, this is what new means, this is what prospect means, this is what lead means. KVCore does do a rating for these people, if you see the rating over here. So you can search by ratings if you decided that you wanted to put your sphere in and rate them based on how likely they are to buy with you in the next 30 to 60 days, 6 months, 1 year, whatever your rating system is, you can add that in and you can search by it. Hashtags is probably the most important thing here. Hashtags, I think a lot of people are familiar with hashtags now because of the way social media works. And so you can tag a lead to categorize it. Is a thing about, you notice here I'm clicking hashtags, it does not pull up a list. That's the one big downfall of KVCore. It does not save your hashtags. So if I was going to hashtag a lead by their budget, 300 to 400 or 300 to 350 or whatever. So it's very specific. Am I writing 300 to 350 with a dash? Am I writing 300 TO 350? Because if I'm looking for, if I've tagged it with a dash and I type TO, the dashes are not going to show up. So this is very, very, very important that you come up with a consistent way to hashtag things called naming conventions. And this is one of the things that we find a lot of real estate agents don't have this level of organization. And you want to have a Google sheet, a Word document, something, and just keep track of it. So if I know that I will always use TO, then even if I forget, I can probably, and I know I will always go in $50,000 increments. But I know in the future I'll probably do 400 TO 450, right? Just because I always use TO and I always use $50,000 increments. So you've got to come up with those conventions for yourself. Contact source, they've got some options here. I've also added certain things. You can, whether they've subscribed, whether they have their birthday, when they were created, their property interest, their price range, but you have to add all these things into a lead. So why that's important is that when we're doing squeeze pages, there's places where you can add that stuff to the lead coming in automatically so that you know where that lead came from. This is really important for you to find them in the future, especially if you got a lot of leads in there, okay? When I click into, let's say I click into somebody's name, right, and this is September 16th. This is from Google. So on the left-hand side, this is all new up here. They changed the format of this, but if you go over here to timeline, it will show you a timeline of all the activity that has happened with these people. I'm gonna see if I can just find my own name because mine is. Now here's one really, 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 really crucial thing. If I go out of here and then I go back to my smart CRM, check at the bottom to make sure that the filter is not still applied. A lot of times people forget, like, I've lost my leads. I've lost my leads because they have a filter that's still applied from the last time that they were in KVCore. So they're only going to see the ones that would come up from that filter. So let's find Charity. I've done this several times. Okay. So on the left-hand side, I can edit the name and save or cancel. Phone number, email address, I can add an address. I have determined this person is a seller. So if it's green, we picked one, I could, maybe they're a buyer too, or a renter, click and click off, right? And then all these hashtags I've added in based on different trainings that we've done in the past, just showing examples for people. I can just delete that. So you can't break KVCore. You mess it up, just X out of it and try again, okay? So, hashtags. And then here's some insights from KVCore, and it's a summary of kind of like the different information that's collected from Charity's journey through KVCore. Obviously going to be really weird because this is just for me to test to show you guys. So it's like, well, their average price point is 500,000, or is it 100,000? Like, because I'm going in and showing you guys different things, but KVCore, this is the artificial intelligence or behavioral automation part where they start to like learn how your lead normally interacts. So based off of this, KVCore will send, based on the behavioral automation, which you can turn off if you don't like it, they will continue to send emails to these leads for you, sending them properties that fit the description of the summary. So if I send this lead, $500,000 homes in that range, but then they keep on clicking on 600 and 650 or above, then it's going to update the summary. Well, no, they're actually interested in the higher price point, right? So that's the cool thing about KVCore when people talk about AI or artificial intelligence. Who's the owner, who's it's been assigned to, who's it shared with, it's a different conversation. Over here, remember I was telling you on that first page in the dashboard, it had new call, add note. So here it is on the actual lead itself. You can add a task, you can share the contact, I can send evaluation, I can transfer the lead, to have them unsubscribe from emails and texts, turn off the behavioral alerts, which is the automatic emails that I was telling you about, delete them, rerun, etc. So I can find them on Facebook, find them on Google, find them on LinkedIn, people in Spokio. What's down here? Anyways, so if you see, I created a note for this person and I pinned it to the top. So if you want to, like, if you have like, okay, I talked to this lady for the first time at an open house and she said she was interested in whatever, pin that to the top. So every time you come in here and the timeline is going to be at the top and you can always see the answer. But then it's like every single thing that I've ever done, every time that Charity Messaoudi has gone to the website, every email that has ever been sent, you'll see in this timeline. Cool. So that this is really good for you as you're looking at your leads. And it's like, you know, they've looked at my website every single day in the past 6 days. I should probably call them. They're probably interested in something. And you will see people who will never answer a phone call, but they will check properties on your website. People are weird sometimes. Okay. So let me just go back. There was a market report over here. Again, this is all new. What's on the side? So if I go to profile details, you see where it says calling, texting off options. This has to be yes. This is not my address, obviously. And I go to alerts, and I can set up alerts, kind of like MLS searches here, and it'll send automatically. Any files that I wanted to attach to this client. Transactions is a separate thing through KVCore, and then any tasks that are assigned based on behavioral automation. And then here's where you put the campaigns. So if I had campaigns set up on my computer, I could add a campaign. That's a whole separate conversation. And then if I wanted to add a market report, so I'm going to send this. And then we go back to my timeline. I'm going to refresh it. And it sent myself an email. You see where I sent myself an email? And then I can view the actual email. So I can see what it looked like. This is the market report that's created. But you see how it has options on here for $670 and $319? So it's trying to learn from the lead. Do you want higher price or do you want lower price? Makes sense? Most expensive. To be able to click a button and have that go out, it's great. Is it perfect? Is it the greatest piece of marketing ever? No, but it's free and it's included and it's automatic and it does stuff when you're not doing it. So listing valuations, I did this as a test. Let's say that I do a seller squeeze page and I put in my address and I want KVCore to tell me what the value is. It'll send it in a few minutes. I'll show you guys. All right, so that's all the stuff you can do in the CRM once the lead is in the CRM. So the big question is then how do I create things to put out into the universe to bring them back to my website so that then they get like into my CRM. And there's a couple ways to do things. FYI, this is, I hate that they collapse all the time now. So there's listings that you can look at all the MLS listings. You can look for your own listings, for the company's listings, or you can manually search. So we have in our group, EXP policy in general is that you can market any EXP listing. It's expressly, the permission has been given from EXP. However, we still would like to make sure that we're following the rules of advertising, which means if you're going to market somebody else's listing, give them credit as a listing agent. This is very important. So if I wanted to market this listing here, I can go in and see what all is going on. And there's a link right here. Now, if I click on this link, it's going to take me to my website, where this listing is posted on my website, right? Because the whole point of this is to get people back to my website, not the listing agent's website. So I could either copy this link right here, which is this little button right here is copy, or I could go here and copy this. And then I would post it on a business page. By creating the post and pasting. And this will show up in a minute. The internet's slow because we're zooming so many things. It will show up with the actual cover photo. So that's the cool thing about it's like fetching an image from the actual website itself. Now, I don't recommend doing it this way because I haven't specified any way for KVCore to add hashtags and sources and all that kind of stuff. You can do it this way, like worst comes to worst, easy peasy lemon squeezy, okay? So what I'm gonna do is go in, but if you wanted to more actions on a listing, you want to print a flyer, KVCore will generate one for you. Not the greatest piece of marketing material ever created in the history of man, but it's better than nothing, okay? And it has your information on there. It's fine. It's fine. Then you can go to marketing. This is where you have your smart campaigns. This is where they want you to pay for extra stuff. So go right here to smart campaigns. These are the campaigns that you set people on, like drip campaigns. If you go to the KVCore library, which is what's pulled up, there should be 23. 23 campaigns that were 24 now, apparently. And you can go into any of these and you can see what the campaign is. And so immediately, as soon as the lead comes in, there's an email from the agent to the contact, and you can preview what the email looks like. This is the subject line. When it's immediate like that, you can't, you're not going to get a chance to edit it before it sends. So if you're going to want to edit this, you want to clone the campaign and then edit. Campaigns are a whole different conversation. It's actually really not an easy thing to do. So all the campaigns, and then if you wanted to use one of these campaigns, you would click add to my library, and then it will show up in my campaigns, which you would still need to turn on or off. So just because I have them, that's why I was telling you earlier, I don't have campaigns turned on because I don't like the wording of these campaigns. So until I change it and it's natural to what I would say, I'm not going to turn them on to automatically send. The other thing is that the campaigns are meant to stop when you get responses back, but I don't use the KVCore smart number. So if they're contacting me outside of KVCore, then KVCore has no way to know that, and so the campaigns will continue to go without me stopping it. So until you have that all set up, I would just be really careful. There is a way to do campaigns instead of it automatically emailing them, that it just gives you a note with a task and tells you to email them. And then every day when you log into KVCore, you can check your tasks and just follow the instructions of the task instead of KVCore automatically sending. I think that's a good intermediary step. So lead engine, again, this is what everybody wants to know, how to use KVCore to get leads. That's usually what people are asking for. A couple of things, there is a landing page and call capture, which is text, text codes, and some more things down here that you can look into. The main thing that people ask about is a squeeze page. It's going to ask you to select your domain, which you would just have one option if you're a solo agent. Start to build the campaign. So if you go to the top here, you have 4 different options for campaigns. One is a multi-property squeeze page. So remember, we're trying to find many properties that fit a certain criteria, like the MLS. It's an MLS search, basically. But instead of sending them to the MLS, it's bringing them to your KVCore page where that search is pulled up and there's a list of properties that fit that description. A lot of people ask, what kind of squeeze pages should I do? I mean, I don't know. Who are your clients? Like, that's a marketing decision for you. KVCore, all technology is just a tool. So who are your clients? Where are they? How do you get in front of them? And what would be valuable? Those are questions that you need to answer for yourself. And then once you have the answer, then you can build a squeeze page that makes sense, that would excite them enough to click the button and then go all the way through and give you their information. So somebody give me an idea so I can build a squeeze page of what do you think your clients or your ideal clients would be looking for? Anybody?
Single family,
Okay. What price point?
4 to 5.
400, 500. What location? We'll just go top down. What location?
Raleigh.
So you can go city, neighborhood, zip code, subdivision, county. Like, there's so many options here, but we're going to go city, Raleigh. Just make sure you click on that and it shows up in this box right here. You can draw on a map too, just like you would for the MLS. All right, so listing types. Do we want coming soon? We also want to have single family. And then style, there's lots of options here. I wouldn't worry about that, because that depends on the listing agent putting in correctly into the MLS. Right? Price range, so between 400 to 500,000.
And this doesn't limit it, right, to EXP listings as well?
No, yeah, the whole MLS.
Yeah.
Good question, yes. Square footage, I don't think you need to put square footage, it's gonna limit itself based on price point. You know, if you, like, I cannot have less than 4 bedrooms. Walk score, do you really care about that, Raleigh? You gotta have a car. Let's go with it. Okay. Options. So here's where the options are that are kind of cool. You definitely would want to use some of these. So are they just listed? Are they fixer upper? I mean, I don't really know how they find fixer upper from the MLS. Because remember, this is just pulling from the, like, what criteria are we using for fixer upper? So I'd be nervous about putting something too specific. Just like in the MLS, if you're too specific, you might be cutting out things that they might be interested in.
So these are and statements, not or statements.
Well, the options are or,
Okay.
right? But these,
The up there is
yeah,
like the coming
this is
soon.
an and.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Sorry, I'm
She's
have
a
a CRM
techie. I
background.
love it. Okay. Newly built being new construction, probably within the last year. I don't know if it's only the button of new construction or if it does the year range last year. I'm not in the back end of KVCore. Open houses, definitely. So this is certainly something that you would want to put on your business page every week. Like, check out the open house in Apex, check out the open house in Bali. Like, the cool thing about this link is because you're creating a search query. So whenever you click on that link, it'll be the most current information, even if it's a year from now. So you only have to make this link one time, save it in your Google Drive, post it or schedule it for the whole year. So spend a day on your marketing and then use the power of duplication to scale and have your marketing going in the background while you're doing other things and getting busy. Horse, property, golf course, pool, blah, blah, blah. So you can check through that. So let's just say Master on Main, because that's a big one for people. Again, the issue with Master on Main is you're counting on the listing agent to put it in correctly, but we'll see what we find. Over here is where is the source. This is your note to yourself of where are you going to be posting this link. I always put Facebook. Okay. And then what hashtags do I want to put? Okay. So I would say a good hashtag for this would be Raleigh. These leads are interested in Raleigh. 400 to 500. Okay. Master on Main. Anything else? Single family. You can decide that you're going to do SF instead of single family, right? It doesn't matter as long as you do it consistently every time. Because you'll be able to search in the future. Here's why. Remember I was going to those listings before on the tab? Let's say I pull listings that are 400 to 500 single family Master on Main. I can email that entire list to a hashtag. So if I know people are interested in single, those are the hashtags I'm going to pull, so I can work within my CRM to identify people quickly by hashtag. So you want to be really, 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 really granular with the hashtags. There's no like issue to have too many hashtags, but there definitely, could be issues, because once you see all these leads in here, trying to that you can do mass actions and add hashtags like to mass people at a time. How are you going to identify that? You're going to have to click through 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 40,000 leads, each one manually add hashtags in the future. Again, just get that stuff planned from the beginning. So then I'm going to choose the Facebook cover photo. Somebody asked this question in Honey Badgers recently. They're saying that, I think it was Linda. She's like, I'm trying to do squeeze pages, and every picture that they pick is so ugly. Okay. There is like a really technical way to change that picture, but the best way to do it is here. You pick, which cover photo do I want to use? A listing from the search results? Do I want to use recent listings from the agency, even if they're outside the search results? Low price listings, high price listings, random listings, or photos from a specific listing? I would probably just do high price listings, because you know why? I want people to click. I want people to click on the link. Like, ooh, there's an open house or master on Main that looks like that. I can find out. So, like, again, it's marketing. Like, what's going to make people interested to click? You can change the property views allowed before registration. What this means is that they're allowed to click on your website into either one view or 2 views before 3 views or unlimited, whatever, before it forces them to register. There's a debate about this, like how many times should I allow them to click? I don't want to scare people off. This is lead generation. The point of this is to get leads. If they don't want to register, then they're not really that useful to you as a lead, right? Does that make sense? So I would just stick with the default of 2. Some people put it to immediate. That's a little hardcore, but so then once you've done all that, don't click this generate link until everything is done, because what happens if you generate this link and then you go back and change another criteria, that link is not valid anymore. You've got to make sure everything's set. Then you generate the link. It generates 2 different links, a direct link and a short link. This is just like a tiny URL. Some people ask, which one do I use? It doesn't really matter. It's kind of up to you. But the big thing that I always preach to people is make sure the links work. Before you post them all over social media, test to be sure. Especially when you're doing a multi-property squeeze page, and I picked Master on Main, there may not be any results. Okay, and I just want to show you this URL up here while we're here. And this, for some people, will understand. So it's my website. They want to display Raleigh areas in the city of Raleigh, with beds 4+, no minimum baths, $400,000 to $500,000, no minimum or max acres of footage. You don't care about the walk score, master types on Main, sort by listing date. It's going to be in Facebook. Add the hashtags Raleigh, add the hashtags 400, 500, add the hashtags Master on Main, add the hashtag single family, and use the agency photos. So that's all the instructions that I just gave them. You don't need to know how to code to do this, right? So that's what the beauty is. You don't have to be a coder to get the results that you're looking for, because that's all you need. Just give me the link, okay? So here's only 5 results, but that's pretty good considering we don't have any listings whatsoever, to have 5 that pulled up. Now, you can still look in here. I mean, this is a ranch, so clearly it's Masters on Main. But you can look in here and see. But, okay, so I could use this link. I could use this link. I could use this link. It really doesn't matter. And I'm going to show you why. Let me get back to Facebook.
Jerry, I have a question. What if you select, like, high price listings from your agency for a picture, and for whatever reason the area that you're choosing, there is no agency listing in that area? Is it going to be blank, or what?
No. So it's still gonna pull from all the listings, even if they're not your listing. But just the picture that they pick will be, because remember, we're able to advertise any of our agency's listings. So we don't want to just pull high price listings from anybody because then we don't get in trouble from another agency for stealing their picture or whatever. So let me just show you what this looks like. So I'm going to create a post. I'm going to paste that link. And you got to give it a minute because the internet's going real slow. So look at this beautiful picture. Coming soon, single family in Raleigh. Isn't that lovely? So now I'm going to copy all of this and I'm just going to type over it. Check out these awesome, whatever. Okay? When I post this, this picture is now the link. Yeah, so that's the beautiful thing. That's why I just said it doesn't matter which link that you choose, you're going to write over it anyways. So some people like to stick this short link in. So if you're going to send it by email, for example, and you don't know how to change what it looks like, use the short link because it's prettier. But if you're going to just be posting to social media, it doesn't matter because you're going to write over it and start to advertise and all that kind of stuff. And then I would just, let's see, you see how it has my website? People will click on this picture because like, wow, what a pretty house. Oh, this is a home that's between 400, well, maybe. Click on the link. Let's see. Oh, that was no longer available. Okay, so yeah, so then now it's going to show me the coming soons and the actives, which we know in this market we got to have the coming soon so we can be as prepared as possible and offer before, you know. So then you would hit post, or you can publish later. There's publishing tools in Facebook business page. Maybe not working today, but that's all right. Okay, so I'm not going to post that because it's gobbledygook, but. Awesome. Looks like it says bomb.com. It's just something I would say. So, so anyway, so that's how you post KVCore links to social media. Here's the thing. If I navigate away from this page, I will never find these links again. They don't get stored somewhere. So before you leave a page, make sure you have your Google Sheet open, you have your headings on top, and it's like the date you created it. Which source did you use? Which hashtags did you use? What's the short link? What's the long link? Where did you post it? So that in the future, you can use the same link again, because this will be the same link 1 year from now. We'll pull up 400 to 500,000 coming soon actives. So don't waste your time doing stuff twice when you don't have to. And secondly, in the future, if I'm going to find these leads, I know which hashtags to look for. Does that make sense how that works? Okay.
So you can't find this page again in like past squeeze pages.
No. Yeah. No past squeeze pages, and there's no past like hashtag list. I know it's kind of dumb, but
Okay.
That's like pro tip plus, by the way. So that's multi-property. It's just like an MLS search. A single property is if you had your own listing or you want to market a single listing. That makes sense to do the exact same thing, except for you'd have to put the listing ID or the address on there. It does not give you the option to choose a different listing picture. You do have to use the listing picture of the listing, which makes sense. A seller squeeze page is, do you see how it says get seller leads by offering an instant market report? It's not a market report, it's a CMA. And they're not great. They're like Carfax reports, okay? But it's like kind of rangy. Okay, this is like a quick CMA, we call it. Let me send you a quick CMA. But I tell people like, yeah, it's like a Carfax. I can give you based on your year and your number of your bedrooms and baths, but it's based on condition, which I won't be able to see until I'm in. Are we good, better, best? Right, so you're trying to get a listing appointment here. So you create a seller squeeze page. I do want to show you guys what this looks like. Facebook, let's just say we do hashtags. Apex seller squeeze.
Will the hashtag be different if you capitalize?
No, I think yeah.
Yes.
It will.
I don't
So you
know
have to make sure
if
it's
that
the same
matters
case?
when you search though. But just check to be sure. Yeah, I mean, so make a policy. I would also make a seller. Right, so I can find my seller leads in the future. All my seller leads, right? Location, let's just pick Apex. Since that's what Okay. So I'm going to show you guys what this page looks like in KVCore. once they click on it. The average price in Apex is $640,000. What's yours worth? And it tells them to enter their address. So let me show you what it looks like on Facebook. This big question mark. The average price in Apex is $640K. What's yours worth? And then it takes them back to this page and has them enter their information. It works. People love the question mark. They really do. Now then you can make an ad out of this. You could boost this, like boost it with lookalike audiences, like that's like way, way far into the future talking about marketing. But again, the basics is you know how to create a squeeze page.
And you're sending this for public, right?
Yeah, or you can put it, so in my email signature, for example, it says, get your CMA. And so what did I do? I took that link and then I wrote over it and it says, get your CMA by clicking, or click here, and the here is the link. So that you can put that link anywhere. It's just that I probably, in doing that squeeze page, instead of saying Apex, I do Wake County, right? Just so so the squeeze page says the average price in Wake County, instead of saying the average price in Apex, right? You just gotta think through kind of the end result, right?
What would be hashtag that you used?
Oh, I don't know. I just made some stuff up. Well, we're gonna talk about how that's a whole conversation right now. And then the last thing is the market report, which is very similar to the one that I showed you in the CRM, right? How it had the market report. So you pick an area, pick the source and the hashtags, create the link. Let's just do this again. This is the page it takes them back to. Remember, it looks very similar to that email that I showed you earlier. Show you what it's like on there. Free real estate market report for Apex. So that's what it looks like on Facebook. So same thing, as long as we gotta allow this preview picture to come up. You cannot delete these words in this link until the preview picture has come up. Then you can start typing. Check out the latest market report. Or are you curious how the market is going? Like, no, again, that's more your personal branding and marketing style. But then that picture becomes a link. Cool. It's really cool. I mean, honestly, for like what's included in our in for free. And then there's some web and IDX stuff here if you want to change some stuff on your website and some marketplace things where you can buy extra things, but we won't get into that today. It's a little bit longer conversation. So I'm just gonna check the chat real quick. Do we have anything chat wise? Mary says she has no sound. Cynthia says cool. Okay, so anybody else have any questions on chat or here in the office? You guys are probably like,
I have a specific question.
Yeah.
I noticed that KVCore has a new function that when somebody interacts, the very, like your very first text back response, it automatically adds like this little automated blur. Can you delete that or
Yeah.
remove that? And
so that's
how
not behavioral automation. That's in your settings. You can turn that stuff off.
Okay.
Let me show you this now that we can look at the dashboard. Now that I've been all over the KVCore site this entire time, it's going to show you that Charity looked at the market report. Charity looked at this property. Charity, check this out. You see, this is what your dashboard will show you. 2 minutes ago, I looked at the market report. Oh, maybe I should send them an email or a call or a text. I looked on my computer 25 minutes ago. That's what these are. I looked 5 times on my computer 8 days ago. So we're doing an open house. So the cool thing about this is that people are looking. I can tell what people are looking at. Again, this is the Big Brother situation, but at least you know what people are looking for.
They have to be logged into the account in order to see that, correct?
Yes, that's why they have them registered. So
Right.
once they've registered once, they're not going to keep on registering every time unless they log out, which is actually kind of hard to find the log out. If you've ever tried to log out yourself, try and look at it as a stranger. But for the most part, you'll see every time if they register.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're going to get a lot of people that bounce off.
Mhm.
Don't forget it. Don't care that much. Or go to Zillow. So that's the one thing with the single property squeeze page. It has the actual address in the link. You could just go to Zillow and find it. But again, how serious is that person anyway? Really? But the fact that they're even that interested that they're on your business page, right? That's a good sign. At least gets them at the top of the funnel.
To do any of the automation for like text messaging, do you have to have your own number?
No.
But-
No, because if the lead is in here and you text them, then remember, as long as the lead is already in here,
Right.
then it'll come back to you.
Okay.
The one thing that it doesn't matter which text code you're using, it doesn't matter which number you're using, is text codes that you use for your listings. So, or wherever you want to put them, honestly, on postcards and email. So if you say text blah, blah, blah to whatever number, including this number, because you created that text code in this CRM, they know that you created it and that lead is yours. So that's the one thing I would say it's okay to use the general office number for, is text codes for your listings, like the writers. I had a listing where people, it was in Andrew, it was like on the side of the road. People just like stop on the side of the road, get out, and like send me a text. Like 25 text messages, people interested in this 1925 farmhouse in Andrew. So that really works really well to get capture leads that people they don't necessarily call your number on the sign, they'll text you as much easier. Any other questions? Why is a source that you input Facebook? I put that just because I'm putting this squeeze page on Facebook. So in the analytics, the business analytics at the end of the year, I can track and see how many leads I got from each lead source. If I was going to put them in an email, if I was going to put them in a Google ad or something like that, I would write that so that I can just tell how effective my marketing is. Somebody asked, do we have a template for the Google Sheets where we can put those direct links on the squeeze page? Template for the Google Sheets. You mean where the Google Sheets would put the links on the squeeze page? The Google Sheets won't do it itself. I think what you're asking is, do we have like a template of how to set up your Google Sheets? I don't. It's just kind of what matters to you. Right, yeah, Cynthia. So like an Excel sheet, and just across the top, just put date, created, all the different criteria that we mentioned, and then just the link. Okay, she's got it. Okay, cool. Yeah, so KVCore is cool. It's so many pieces because it allows you to customize, but on the other hand, then it becomes a little bit too much, and it's like, how do I do it exactly? There is really no right answer. But as you get more proficient in it, you'll appreciate that you can make it as customized as you want to make it. Cool. All right. So I think that should be good. I mean, this is, again, like a really quick overview of KVCore. I mean, you could do an hour-long training on each of these things, really, if you wanted to. But hopefully that at least gets you going. You can click buttons. It really is you're not going to break it. And then these people down here in this chat button, ask them questions. That's their job. That's why they're there. They're pretty good at it. And if nothing else, they'll send you to like a help article. So yeah, that's part of being a real estate agent. You got to figure out how to ask questions. Like you're never going to know the answer to everything, and then know who to ask questions for and how to use Google and how to search people who already answered the questions before, then ask other people questions. So that's really, really important. I don't think any of us ever have a problem with answering questions, but the way that you want to ask questions to people is, hey, Charity, I did some research, I Googled this, I checked the inside real estate, and I think I should do this or that. Which do you recommend? Do not send me a message that says, Charity, how do I use KVCore? That's like a 9-hour conversation. So we need you to be a little bit more specific. So again, I mean, I learned this just by watching 25 hours of videos. So I'm trying to save you from watching 25 hours because it was really unnecessary. But you know, you want to do some things on your own because the value comes from trying it. And then you might discover things in the future, trial and error. So, all right, cool. Well, I think that we will end the chat or the training here on Zoom, and then hopefully we'll see you guys at our next training.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
We're so thankful for you and your knowledge.
Of course, it's time.
Overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed. It's
But also
overwhelming.
thankful.
But